I'm Joe Netherworld, and I'm here with your daily tarot card reading for Wednesday, June 3rd. Strange, windy, crazy day was yesterday. Well, it still is. So I'm reading for you now at the beginning of Wednesday, around midnight. As always, been a crazy progression of these last few days. Started a GoFundMe for a weather vane for my dear dead brother Sean Poirier, and that made its goal in 23 hours. I ordered the weather vane today. I'll be here in a couple of days. Put it up on the house. Great things. I think we should spend a lot of our time in our lives, and this is something you should always live by, memorializing people. Taking a moment, put something permanent, or as permanent as can be, into the world, for them, about them. Remind people every day who were these people that are no longer with us and what they meant and who they were. Not what they meant to you so much, that should be evident from your daily life, but what they meant to the world and what the world is missing and what the world needs to remember. And if not, they don't have to remember it, of course. They can forget it themselves, but they won't forget what these people have done. How they've changed the world forever, who they've changed, how they've changed. So that's my tale. I live here in Poughkeepsie, New York. I live in what's called the Witch House, the Halloween House. A name it earned through the last decade of being once an abandoned house, now an elaborate, gorgeous Gothic mansion. But I was the only one who did Halloween in the whole area for the kids. Trick or treat. I did a classic Halloween, no spooky modern stuff, but witches and devils and ghosts, fog machines and lightning. And it was great, it's grand. And I gave out candy. And slowly this neighborhood became known for it. Kids would take, their parents would drive them in from miles and miles away into this rather dicey neighborhood at the time. And so it's grown. That's my bit of public service. In that now this block, good friends of mine bought the house up the street, the Black House. Look it up, you'll know what I'm talking about. And we do this great Halloween. We hire a clown to wander the streets and terrorize the kids from house to house. One year we hired a violinist, and he would follow the kids in full top hat and tails and escort them with classical music. Classical creepy music, Dance Macabre, and Mephisto Waltz, and such. But I get to this to say, I've been fighting this allergy attack, bad throat, but it's not kept me from reading, because this is important. What I'm doing here is important for me. As a reader, I get practice, and I get a chance to speak to these people, you, the people. But for you to listen and to take a moment to reflect, I hope this takes about, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 minutes, whatever it is in the morning. And you get a moment to sit down and think and to meditate and to get in touch with your witchy side and be aware of what's going on around you and be less about the mechanical world and more about the mysterious world. Because that's really all that matters. It's the world that we don't know yet, that we can't see, that is affecting our lives, but we don't know what it is yet. We have to meditate on that and find that. And I'm sitting with my eyes closed going to pick this card. I like to do that with my eyes closed so you just have this tactile feel. When I get to something that feels like your card for the day, your main card, which is this card, we're both going to wait. It's death. Death is our main card for the day. And I just overturned one of my found cards, and it's a 7 of clubs. That's interesting, too. I think you know about this. I think I've told you the story, right? Everyone finds things. They're all drawn to something. I have been, since I lived up here especially, this pile of cards, it's over 300 cards, I think, now. I found a couple at a time walking the streets of Poughkeepsie and other towns in Salem and New York City and places. And I find always a couple of cards. And that couple of cards tells me a story. They're for me. They help me get to the next level of where my meditations and my psychic abilities need to be refined to. But this is my universal deck, my mystery deck that's been revealed to me. And a lot of people find keys and marbles, saint statues, all kinds of interesting things. And I'm sure once you really open yourself up, you'll start finding things. But these hundreds of cards, all different decks, different backings, found no more than 2 or 3 at a time, they're my story. And that's one of my secret tools. And this is a vulture feather. It's my quill. I write my things in my spell book with. And it's interesting. It's sitting right here on the table, as always. But right next to death, vulture, death, right? Most of the time in tarot, sudden rebirth. The end of things. the changing of things, the clearing of things, the end of the seasons, and sometimes just death. It means people are dying, things are ending, battles have been fought and won, but at what price? And it is the ultimate setting sun. It is the ultimate end of the argument. It ends in death. It is over. It is done. So today, I think we're going to realize that this is, and it's funny because this evening I've been kind of going through it's almost sadistic of me, but then again, I am a wicked witch. I'm entitled to be sadistic as I please. What was going on? I occasionally bait people that bother me into flushing them out, whether it be in social media or in person. They get all flustered, they attack, they delete or remove me, and I get to move on, knowing they're just deleted. So death rules the day. Death rules change, and I think that's what this today is about. Make some final changes. Make some complete and decisive ends today. Let things be done today. Now let's see what our other card is. What is our card? I'm going to take this card because it's been haunting me. And we have the Page of Cups, which is the Make-A-Wish card, the fairy tale card. In that, it represents the fable of the fisherman. He catches a fish. The fish speaks and says to him, you can either eat me and cure your hunger for the moment, or I can grant you 3 wishes and change your whole life, change your whole world. A smart man would say, I'll take you up on those wishes. You are talking fish. Talking fish are not really common. Odds are you might have some magic powers. I'll take you up on that. An ignorant but hungry man will just eat the fish. How much will one fish fill your gut, as opposed to all these possibilities? But that's what you have to realize today. Some people are just that thick, that stupid, that short-sighted. They'll just eat a little fish. But also in the Page of Cups is that there's romance behind you, something that needs to be protected. That you should take those wishes not only just for you, but for the one you love, and that should strengthen your relationship. So I think death in this situation is, death might give you some opportunities today. Death might allow you to make some changes and some ends of negative situations in your life that you maybe didn't have the guts to do. Today you will. Maybe today is going to be one of those days where it does it itself, where death just comes on in and makes it a little bit easier for us. In the simplest matter, sometimes death can clean the slate. So let's see what our other card is. I'm enjoying this read tonight, even though I'm a little bit shot from coughing my brains out earlier, but I'm quiet now. Though I have a deeper and more resonant voice now that my larynx has had a beating, as it were. But let's see what this is. Let's see. I'm taking this one. Yes. The Nine of Swords, the sorrowful card. A card where you have too many problems over your head, too many swords, too many things dangling. Very interesting, on either side of death we have the possibility of all these wishes being fulfilled. On the other side we have all these troubles. I think that death comes today. Death is the form of a savior today. Death is the great ender of things today. He ends these troubles over your head because he might just end it all for you. End everything. Force you to move, force you to go. This is about rapid and sudden change today. It is about final changes today. So I would say today, be prepared that you might, I don't know, it's almost like you're having an argument with someone. You just wish they would go away forever. And they get hit by a bus. That could be nice. Or they just decide they don't like you at all anymore and they want to leave. And it's really, they are committing the death of your relationship or your friendship, but really it's allowing you to be reborn. And therein lies. So today I'd keep in mind, maybe death's your friend today. You know, he's your friend always. He takes you off this mortal coil and gives you the gift of immortality, that you are done with this body that will turn itself against us at one point or another. As much as I love this life, and I am grounded solely in my realistic, atheistic understanding that life is to be lived, there is a point when it's time for it to be ended too. And to do that gracefully and to do that well, that's the trick of life. It's how we do it. The trick of life is how well we end it, for ourselves at least. Now, today, you know, I respect death. You can't really see it here, the camera's fixed, but there's an 8-foot tall angel of death that stands beside me, my reading area. Azrael waits for us all. Lila Wendell, you know, you've taught me that. So it's a little shout out to my good friends at the Westgate Galleries down south, New Orleans. But I'm going to tie this all back into today. Understand the changing of the seasons, the ending of days, the ending of lifespans, and the ending of troubles. You know, if you have for things to start anew, some bad things have to die. Opportunity is being born today. There's great chance, but you have to be a bit of a gambler, have some belief, and have some willingness to extend yourself. Now, if you're just stuck with all these knives over your head, if you're stuck in the land of the Nine of the Swords, and it's too much for you, let some stuff go. You know, you're not going to beat all these problems by carrying all these problems. So let some of them die. Sometimes, to quote from Pet Sematary, I'm just full of quotes tonight, aren't I? Sometimes dead is better. Keep that in mind. Let some things die. Let them go. Be open to the end of things and be able to look at something for the last time and let it never be seen again. Let it go. That's a beautiful freedom sometimes, in that we can let some things die. So, all hail death today. This is a somber yet joyous read, and out of the death of my dear friend recently comes another new tribute. So I think that's important to realize that death reminds us and gives us a permanent line in the sand that our people have crossed over, and that we can now do what we have to do as the remaining living witnesses to their life. We have to honor the dead. So today, honor the dead. If you can, if you have friends who are passed and you can go to the cemetery, lay some flowers. Honor death today. Stand up and honor change, and honor inevitability, and honor the inexorable turns we have to face in our lives. Do that for me today, if you would. I'll be here again, around midnight, of course. Ill health or great health, I'm going to make myself do this. Well, unless death gets me. No, death and I are on good terms. I die much, much older. Fire and ice and such. I won't get into too much of that. That's a little too esoteric for now. But I will say, have a magical day, and I'll see you around midnight.